Hi guys, so this is a quick little presentation video that I put together for you to explain the exam guidance. We've been discussing this a lot in our online sessions, so I thought I'd put together a little video that you can go through in your own time. And this is just to support your learning online and your experiences online as well that follow our seminar sessions. So as you know, you've got exams coming up, and this kind of presentation looks at different kind of exam questions, what you need to do, how you need to answer those questions, and what kinds of things examiners look for when they mark answers as well. There are some exemplars, exam questions in this presentation, and also kind of looking at command words that you need to think about when you answer your exam questions so you can clearly answer those questions and aim for those top marks. So the first thing to look at and identify and think about are the types of exam questions that you're going to get in the exam. Now, this is really important because it kind of explains and tells you from the very beginning what and how you should be answering those questions. So, in terms of the exam questions, you should also be looking at the marks. Now, in some of your exams, you may have multiple choice questions. These are usually 1 mark, they can be 2 marks or even more as well. So, just look out for how many marks those questions are. You may have some short answer questions which are up to 2 marks, and this is looking at your knowledge, maybe looking at some definitions and those kind of responses. Then you've got your medium answer questions, or that's what I've called it for the purpose of this presentation. And these are questions that are marked between 3 to 7. So you've got 3 to 7 marks available, and here you're looking to provide a couple paragraphs and a couple of different kind of sides, maybe some advantages and disadvantages to the question. But again, you need to read the question very carefully to see what it is asking you to do. Then you've got some case study questions. So within the question itself, you may have a little scenario. Like later on, I'll show you an example of a mini scenario, and that question might be 7 marks or plus. And then you have some essay questions, which are 20 marks plus. And again, I'll go through that in a little more detail towards the end of this presentation. In terms of finance, you may also have to have some questions in your exam paper for finance related questions. So you should always ask yourself these questions here. So is it a calculation based question? If it is, that means you need to show all your working out. Read the question very carefully. Consider what it's asking you for. So earlier we spoke about things like adverse and favorable questions in terms of finance. And if it's asking you about adverse and favorable responses, then you should include that in your answer as well. Make sure that you show all of your working out. This is very, very important to get those marks. Sometimes, or nearly all the time, you do get marks for working out separately to your response. And your final answer may be incorrect, but your working out may be correct, so you'll still pick up some marks. Or it could be the other way around. Your working out may be incorrect, but your final answer may be correct, although that's not very likely, but somehow you may have got that response there as well. So you may get marks for that as well. So you have to show all of your working out. Then you need to think about, is the question asking me to analyze what I have found? Or am I just being asked to find the response, find the answer, and show my working? And then again, you need to think about whether you have to make any comments or not. Within your exams, you will also have command words. So these words will explain to you what specific things you need to cover in your response. So there are some tables which I found online, and this kind of resonates with the way we structure our exams as well. So you've got identify, define, outline, justify, and describe. And for each one of those things, you've got a certain way to answer the question. So for identify, you're giving 2 simple points, or you're stating 2 points, and that is where your marks come from. For define, you need to give a clear meaning, so you have to clearly define and give a definition. For outline, you've got to briefly describe, so more than one word, but not detailed as describe. So you're giving a little explanation about what the question is asking. Then you've got justify. Now, this is a why question, so you have to give lots of reasons, or as many reasons as you need to, depending on how many marks. And the describe response is giving some detail in your answer. Then you've got compare, so you need to show similarities and differences. It could be advantages and disadvantages. And similarly with discuss, again, you're looking at different advantages and disadvantages to compose your final answer. And in your explain, you need to give a detailed response. So these are some command words that you need to think about. And in your exam, you will see these command words. So if you see any of these command words in your exam, it's really important to know what it is that you are being expected to answer and how you're being expected to answer that question depending on the command word. So this is a really helpful tool for you to look at as well. Now I'm going to go through an example case study with you. This may have been a case study that I've gone through with you before or I've sent to you before, so I've kept it the same so that it's quite simple for you to follow and understand. It's a case study that I've made up with two businesses in the UK, and they may have locations outside of the UK as well. So the two businesses that I've chosen for this particular case study is McDonald's and Krispy Kreme. McDonald's is a business that I'm sure all of you are well aware of, and Krispy Kreme is obviously a donut business based in the UK and possibly has other locations as well. So for this case study, then the head office at McDonald's and Krispy Kreme's have decided to go into partnership and collaborate on a new menu item. They're deciding to create a new burger called McCrispy. It's a beef patty with cheese and chunky tomato relish in between a Krispy Kreme donut. They anticipate that customers will welcome this new collaborative menu item and that this will be popular amongst their existing customer base. Secondary research show that customers are more willing to try new and exciting cuisines. The partnership aims to benefit both McDonald's and Krispy Kreme. They are now trying to think of a plan of action to roll this out across the UK. So here there are some tips for you. Now, when you get a case study, the first thing that you should do is obviously read through the case study maybe a couple of times, so 1 to 2 times, and then try to find the main points of the case study. And if you have an essay question or an application question or a case study question, try to think about how the case study relates to the question. Now, one way of doing this is by highlighting all the key points. So here I've highlighted all the key points, such as the business names, the fact that it's a partnership, because there may be a question around advantages and disadvantages of partnership or legal structures, the fact that the burger is called McCrispy, and I've highlighted that so I can refer to it in my question. The fact that they know or think or anticipate that customers will like this new idea and that it's telling you that it will be popular with the existing customer base. Also, the fact that it's mentioning secondary research is also an important key factor here, because you may get a question in regard to secondary research or primary research. So highlight the main points, and if you have an essay question, then there may be no case study, or if you have a question where there is no case study or much information, then you have to try and come up with business examples to answer that question. These are some of the command words in different types of questions you could get for this case study. So you've got an outline question, explain, and discuss question here with the number of marks next to it. So outline one method of promotion that will be appropriate for McCrispy. It's telling you exactly what to do. So you're going to give one method of promotion, and then say why that's going to help McCrispy, and that's 2 points there. So to get your 2 marks, and vice versa, and then you do the same for the other points there as well on the other questions. There are examples of command words being used here, and this should help you again to think about what you need to include in your answer when responding. There are 4 steps of exam technique that I've used and followed over the years, and lots of mark schemes as well also follow these 4 things. So the first one is application. So this is information taken from the question or case study. This is really important that you refer back to the question or case study, especially when trying to explain your response. The second one is knowledge. Obviously, you need to demonstrate that you have good business knowledge, that you understand the key terms, and that you can give definitions and explain what you're trying to say well. Then you've got your analysis. This is all about your critical thinking. So you may need to show advantages or disadvantages, or even different sides of the argument. You should also think about and answer in your question what the overall impact on the business may be. And then the 4th thing is evaluate. So give an opinion that you can back up, justify your recommendations to the business, and link to other areas of your answer. Now, in terms of command words, for option 1 and 2, for steps 1 and 2, you've got identify, state, outline, explain, and describe. And for steps 3 and 4, you do 1 and 2 plus 3 and 4. So these questions may include command words that have compare, discuss, suggest, justify, recommend, or in your essay question, to what extent do you agree? So again, short answer questions will require step 1 to 2, and case study or essay questions will require step 1 to 4. And this follows your mark scheme as well. So it's really important that you address all 4 stages to achieve those high marks. Then in terms of structuring your paragraphs, we've got the BLT method: because, therefore, and leading to. Using connectives such as because, therefore, and leading to is a great way to develop a point, establish a chain of argument or discussion points, and shows analysis. Also, you can show the impact on the business. I'll talk you through this in the coming slide. So, for example, in this question, it's asking us to explain one disadvantage of not conducting a market map for McCrispy. Now, market map looks at 2 different things. So, for example, quality and price, and then you lay out on a piece of paper or online or on your computers, you lay out the competitors to your business in terms of price or quality. So you might have low price, low quality, high price, and high quality. So the response may be something like this. And you'll notice that it's got because, therefore, and leading to in the response as well. So a response for 3 marks might be something like this. So let's have a read of it. So a gap in the market cannot be identified because they are unaware of what their competitors such as Burger King and Millie's Cookies offer. Therefore, McCrispy may overcharge or undercharge. This can lead to setting prices too high and therefore lead to low sales or unwillingness to purchase the new burger item, so the new collaborative partnership will suffer from bad brand image. So I'm referring to quite a few different things here. I've got my application points in there. I'm showing that I know about knowledge. So I've got my price points. I'm talking about the market map. I'm talking about competitors like Burger King and Millie's Cookies. And that's to directly compete with McDonald's and Krispy Kreme. Then I'm also talking about the impact. So I'm saying what will happen to the partnership if this is not done or not completed. So I'm kind of covering all my bases here. So this would get 3 full marks. So the BLT method is used to show clear knowledge. It's demonstrated an application as well as analysis as well. So impact on the business is shown. Another example. So here is an example of when you have a mini case study in the question. So suggest 2 ways Cherry's cupcakes could improve its cash flow situation. Explain how these suggestions would improve the cash flow situation. Now this is from a past paper for business behavior. So let's have a look at this. So the response is as follows. Cherry's Cupcakes can take out a bank loan, therefore they are able to increase their inflows, leading to positive cash flow, which can be used to invest in marketing products to increase sales. So you've got your therefore leading to. They can also save on costs because they need to improve cash flow, therefore they can find a cheaper supplier, leading to less expenses. However, this may impact the quality of goods. So again, I've got my application, my knowledge is there, I've got my BLT, and I'm also explaining the impact on the business. So 4 full marks there. 2 marks for each point, follows the BLT, has application, and shows knowledge and impact. The next question is the reverse. So now I'm highlighting to you how many keywords exactly you need when answering a business-based question to get full marks. So in this question, it says, analyze the impact on McDonald's and Krispy Kreme if the product is a success. It's 6 marks, so you need 2.3 marks each. And you can see, taking out all the other words, there are lots of business key terms here. So you've got collaborative partnership, you've got unique selling points, competitors, competitive advantage, profits, customer base, new market segments, expansion, sales, market share. So you've got around 8 to 9 points here just to kind of explain all of our answer here. So you can see just how many key terms are needed to get those full marks. And again, you need to practice this, and this comes with having good knowledge of business behavior or any other module that you're studying here. So you need to make sure that you have really good understanding, good business knowledge, good key terms, and you can define them as well. So if you need to, you can explain them in your answer. Tackling an essay question. So again, 4 stages: application, knowledge, analysis, and evaluation. For application, you need to link to the question and provide business examples. If there isn't a case study in the question, then you can just provide business examples. Knowledge, so you need to show that you understand the topic, so definitions and context. So if it's about market research, you need to explain market research in terms of the business. Analysis, so you need to state your arguments. This could be your advantages and disadvantages, or any challenges that exist, and also your impact on the business. And then you have evaluation, so you need to justify what you recommend for the business, link it to your analysis. So there is no point just doing advantages and disadvantages if you're not going to do anything with them. So your evaluation part is usually the part where students get least amount of marks, because they usually write one or two sentences when it should be the opposite. The evaluation should be the biggest part of your essay, because it's talking about your justification, and it's also making recommendations to the business for whatever the question is about. So you need to think about, how can I evaluate this answer of mine to make a recommendation and to justify that in my response. Thank you guys. I hope that has been really helpful to you. We've had lots of guidance and sessions on exam practice and business practice as well. So hopefully this whole session will help you further. Best of luck with your exams, and thank you so much.